Hey friends, welcome. So we spoke about interpersonal relationships last week, and this week we're going to talk about emotional avoidance in and out of relationships, what the emotional avoidant person or the avoidant attachments. And this is helpful because a lot of times I hear with my clients that they have a partner who can be not emotionally available. And perhaps this is some of the information or the reasoning why there are emotionally avoidant people in the world. Now, I'm going to share about how to connect to your emotionally avoidant individual, but also how you can set boundaries for yourself while you're in this relationship. Now, I am not saying to stay in the relationship if it is a detriment to you, but I am going to provide some information that will help you understand what emotional avoidance is, or the avoidance attachment. So, emotionally avoidance is the tendency to avoid or control the experience or expression of their emotions. A person who is emotionally avoidant is an individual who has really experienced trauma. In fact, it's a part of the avoidance group of post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms, acting as a way for people with PTSD to escape really painful or difficult emotions. Bear with me as I explain how this can affect you or those you are in a relationship with. So there are 4 attachment styles, and for the sake of this video, I won't go into detail, but I'll give you the attachment styles, and you can Google that. So 1 is the anxious, which is referred to as the preoccupied, and then there's 2 is the avoidant, which refers to dismissive. They dismiss everything. And then number 3 is disorganized, which refers to fearful avoidance. And then 4 is the secure, the healthy person, healthy version. So avoidance attachment refers to any action to avoid any uncomfortable emotions such as fear, shame, or sadness. And most people with avoidance attachment styles tend to self-medicate with alcohol and other substances to avoid any painful experience. So if you're in a relationship with someone, if they're self-medicating, they're gonna have a tendency of not being able to meet you where you're at. So, and they have a difficult time with places, activities, and they may be triggered by events. So any relationship of any kind, it really takes work and compromise. And when you have a partner who is emotionally avoidant, that can really be challenging to the relationship of the health of your relationship. So what is relationship avoidance? Well, it's a defense mechanism. And people with avoidant attachment styles may completely avoid relationships altogether or keep anyone new at a distance. They tend to sabotage the relationship out of nowhere because they're scared their new partner is going to leave them, abandon them, or not show up for them due to past trauma. And they'll leave the relationship before the person leaves them as a defense mechanism. And they behave in ways that are unconsciously they're not aware of. And as described earlier, most people with emotional avoidance truly are experiencing some kind of past trauma which they really need to get help with, and typically not your responsibility. But if you find yourself in a relationship with these individuals, with an individual who is experiencing this, here are some ways to support the individual and how to connect with them. But before I describe how to increase your connection with your avoidant partner, please be mindful that if this relationship is way toxic for you and it's a detriment to your mental well-being, perhaps it's time for you to leave, exit the relationship. But for the sake of this video, here are some ways and some relationship experts say to learn to increase connection with an avoidant partner. So 1, be patient. If your partner is willing to get help and willing to work with you in creating a healthy relationship, this is really essential. And 2, create a healthy atmosphere. Most times, avoidant partners tend to need to feel safe. So creating an atmosphere that helps with safety allows the individual to connect and share their vulnerability. And number 3, try to understand their needs. They sometimes don't even know what they need, but if you can be patient and understand what they need, that may provide some type of safety in order to help them to connect with you. And number 4, avoid trying to control the behavior. When you're trying to control their behaviors, basically they're gonna run. They're gonna run because they don't feel safe to share themselves. And number 5, if possible, give them alone time. When they get alone time, they can put in perspective, most times can put in perspective what they need in order to come back to the relationship. And then number 6, try not to interrupt their space. If you're texting and you're calling and you're trying to get them to talk and share when they're in that space of needing alone time, they're gonna run. They're not gonna come in because they need that space in order to gather what they need for themselves. So, to survive these kind of relationships, we need to hold on to the idea that despite outward appearances, the avoidants are above all scared. What they are afraid of is to let down their guard and fear abandonment, not your responsibility. So here are some ways to communicate and perhaps set healthy boundaries for emotionally avoidant relationships. Respect your differences. You don't have to agree with everything that the individual has, but you've got to respect their differences, your differences, both of you do. Avoid demanding change. If they're willing to have to meet you where you're at and they're willing to change, don't avoid demanding change, because that's only going to hurt the relationship versus give health to it. Also, ask for what you need versus criticizing. If you're criticizing because they're not showing up for you, they're avoiding you, they're not doing the things that you need them to do, and you're criticizing it, you're not asking for what you need. You're hurting yourself. So ask for what you need in a respectful way. And then also utilize positive reinforcement. If they are showing up, if your emotionally avoidant person is showing up and doing their best to show up in the best way they know how to, praise them. You're not their mother or father, but it is important. We all need positive reinforcement, right? It is just helpful when you're dealing with an individual who is really working hard to change their behavior. And then also show empathy and understanding, because they are coming from a place of trauma. Again, it's not your responsibility, but if you're choosing to stay in this relationship and you're both choosing to have a healthy relationship and working towards the health of your relationship, it takes some empathy and understanding, because it can be painful to look at yourself when you're an avoidant attachment person. And then also honor yourself. When you're honoring yourself, you're showing respect for yourself. You are honoring your own value. And if you're not receiving that value, you're not taking care of yourself. So do your best to honor yourself. And the other part is setting those healthy boundaries. Meaning, when you set healthy boundaries, this is what I need, right? This is, I will not let you act this way for the sake of my own health. And if they can't handle that, that's when you also need to exit the relationship. And then again, believe in your self-worth. When you believe in your self-worth, all of these other things, setting healthy boundaries and being patient and all of that stuff, will help you. It helps you to be able to know your worth and value. And then the last one is stop chasing. Again, if you're texting and you are trying to chase this person down because you know that this relationship is worth having and it's great and this person's trying to change, but you keep chasing, don't do it. You're more important than that. So I hope you found this video helpful. I hope that you received something valuable in this video or found a new type of awareness. If you have any comments or you felt like this was helpful, please comment below or press the like button. It is always an honor to share this information, and I'm really grateful to have been in your presence. Thanks for watching. Signing out, Sacred Wild Woman. Bye.